I spent 12 hours in Blender going through the whole process of creating a character, doing things like modeling, UV unwrapping, texturing, rigging, and animating. Why do all this in 12 hours, you may ask? Well, it's because I'm currently working on a 3D game which needs a lot of custom assets, and as I've never really used Blender in my life, I decided to sit down and spend one day to fully learn it. And to be honest, with a plan like this, I really don't see what could possibly go wrong. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. I swear to god, I'm gonna lose it. Why is this not working? Wait, what did I click? What did I click? How do I go back? Bro, mine doesn't work like his. Yeah, this makes no sense. This literally makes no sense. To start things off, I downloaded Blender, opened it up, and was greeted with the famous Blender cube. I quickly realized that I have no idea what I was doing, so I went on YouTube and looked up how to model a character. I immediately found this tutorial from Pixel 3D that was aimed at absolute beginners and started following step by step. And I gotta say, it was way harder than I thought. But after 1 hour of pain and suffering, I made this, my first 3D humanoid in Blender. This might come as a surprise, but this is exactly what peak human physique looks like, and it's goddamn beautiful. Sadly though, my excitement was short-lived, as while trying to get it to Unreal Engine, I somehow managed to delete the final model, and because Blender doesn't have autosave by default, I lost all of my progress. I was kinda glad that I made this mistake so early, as with programs like these, it is very important to know when and how to save. You really don't want this happening when you spend a lot of time on a model. This, of course, didn't change the fact that the loss of my first character made me sad. So, to cheer myself up, I decided to put what I just learned to the test and make a cute little dog. Well, I say little, but I messed up the scale and it turned out to be way bigger than the default character. It's still pretty cute though. Oh wait, I forgot to give him ears. Filled with rush from the dog I made, I moved on to make two more cool animals. Now, just based on their silhouettes, can you try and guess what they are? In case you guessed giraffe and a monkey, then you're very much correct. And oh, I'm getting a call from production, hold on. They're saying you win a reward for the guess. Alright, let's see what it is. What? No way! Is that a free subscription to my channel? Man, you better go redeem it quick before it expires. So far I had spent 3 hours making models, but I still had to go over all the other steps, so I focused up and moved on to the next task, UV unwrapping and texturing. I did quick research on both and essentially learned that I have two possible choices when it comes to UV unwrapping. Either I go over the whole mesh, unwrapping it part by part and making sure that every cut is perfect, or I just click this button here and Blender does it for me, but in a less efficient way. Of course, I first wanted to try this on my own, but yeah, it didn't quite work. For some reason, I can code a whole game from start to end, but can't wrap my head around cutting and unwrapping a whole model. So yeah, UV's done. Next step. Armed with my new UVs, I moved on to the texturing tab, where I figured out that I had to essentially make a blank texture and then literally hand paint the model in the colors of my choice. So I quickly made a texture for all three of my current models, painting the dog in some darker colors, the giraffe with complex and detailed pattern, and I'm so sorry that you're going to see this, but this is how I textured the monkey. Again, this was my reference. I have no idea how I fucked this up so badly. All in all, my characters looked alright. And because I was ahead in time, I decided to create a couple more so I can explore different modeling and texturing methods. I found this tutorial from Joey Carlino, who showed a very easy method for modeling a stylized character. After my first attempt, I was already doing way better than my previous characters. Until, of course, I decided to click one wrong button, resulting in Blender completely crashing. But that's fine. I mean, I already learned my lesson earlier. There's no way I have to redo this whole project again, right? Thankfully though, remaking the character took way less time, so I went ahead and made a couple more models, such as this long arm alien, this big leg alien, this big arm alien, and of course, the imposter from Among Us. I was really happy with how my new models turned out. I felt like I was developing an art style along the way, so the whole process was very satisfying. But currently, I've only made static characters that cannot move. So, it was finally time for me to dip my toes in one of the most intimidating areas of Blender: rigging. Rigging in the 3D modeling world is generally known as a pretty tedious process. It takes a lot of effort to get right, and from what I know, having to rig something that has more than 2 legs is probably one of the worst decisions you can make as a beginner. So for my first rig ever, I decided to go with my freshly made giraffe. I honestly got no clue what I was doing. I made sure to set bones in every part of the giraffe's body, mainly in his neck of course, but once I finished the armature, I noticed most of his parts were moving together instead of separately. His neck though, that thing was perfect. Overall, it was a great first attempt. For my second try, I went with one of the newer models. This time I used help from tutorials and actually managed to get a somewhat of a good result that I felt confident I could animate. And with only 2 hours left in my challenge, I moved on to do just that. The animation interface in Blender wasn't that hard to understand, but there were definitely some tricky bits. I once again relied on tutorials to figure it out, but once I got the basics, it was pretty straightforward. I made 3 animations for the character and quickly exported them to Unreal. And let me tell you, that worked like charm. There were absolutely no issues. All my animations were looping perfectly, they had correct pivots, their scale was really nice. I honestly can't believe, with all these issues that's been happening today, this was the first thing that worked from the first try and there were absolutely no issues with it. Jokes aside, it took me an hour to figure out the Blender to Unreal pipeline, but the final result was pretty alright. I even had time to sneak in a little emote at the end before my time for the challenge officially ran out. And that was all. After 12 long hours, I managed to go through every step of character creation, starting with just a cube and ending with this giga chat of a character walking around in a Unreal Engine. I actually really enjoyed this process and I cannot wait to make more 3D games in the future with my own assets. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, I suggest you check out this one, and I'll see you in the next one.